Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the International Wildcard taking place at Seattle's PAX Prime. Now, we're going to get back into the action in just a minute, but first, let's do a quick check to see how you've been responding to our question of the day. Now, to remind you all, earlier in the show, we asked, how do you PAX Prime? And here's a sample of your tweets. Our first comes from @ExtroMex. Looks like he found Jarvan and Darius. There's some pretty interesting cosplay here at PAX Prime. I'm not going to lie, I really like the Jarvan cosplay.
Yeah, I really like the work that he put into the lance there.
And then our next one comes from @NicholasBow, getting an eagle-eye view on all the action right over Hotshot GG's shoulder.
It's a little bit of a creeper photo.
I was going to say, creeper much?
Just a little bit. But, I mean, the stream's down, but he probably got the best Hotshot reacts.
Oh, and he also got a pretty sweet seat in the venue, up nice and close to all the action. Our next one comes from @JackieXC, found Annie's bear at PAX. That is a pretty sweet-looking statue.
That looks really horrifying, actually, taking a look at that. KBM support Dan actually plays a lot of Annie, so we might see that later on, too.
Yeah, this is definitely the image updated Tibbers, as opposed to the old one that didn't have a neck. And then, of course, our last one comes from @AKA Shika and features the Aiden Zyrene Moon fan club, party of one.
WTF, 2 Zyrenes, man. Oh, that cat's got good taste.
How does that make you feel? He's getting all up and close and personal in there.
I don't care. I like cats, so that's good for me.
All right. Confirmed. Zyrene is a cat person. Now, if you want to share your PAX experience, send your tweets to @LOLEsports and use the hashtag LCS. Now, we're going to send it over to Freak and Jat at the caster desk to take us into the game. But as we go, KBM were seen as the underdogs in Brazil. They gave credit to their strength as a team for getting them this far and believe that it will carry them all the way to Worlds.
Qualquer sonho de um time no Brasil era representar o Brasil bem fora do país. A gente está se esforçando bastante para estar aqui, a gente se esforçou. A gente vai treinar cada vez mais.
Acho que superou as expectativas. A gente, provavelmente entre os 4 times, a gente era o que tinha menos assim, torcida, que menos acreditavam na gente, mas acho que a gente se superou, surpreendeu todo mundo.
Eu acho que os times do Brasil têm players muito bons. Talvez tenha até alguns times que têm players com individual melhor do que o nosso. Só que a gente jogou realmente como um time. Acabou inteira ganhou. Eu acho que foi os 5 juntos. Acho que foi o trabalho em equipe que fez a gente vencer.
Nós estudamos bastante o time da PEX. A gente entende bastante como eles são, o estilo de jogo deles, o que eles priorizam, o que eles veem em vantagem, etc.
A gente nunca treinou contra a PEX, mas eu já joguei algumas solo kills contra o top laner deles. Eu não tenho medo dele, mas eu vou respeitar. É óbvio que a gente não pode entrar achando que vai vencer, que vai ser fácil. Eu confio na minha habilidade.
Poder ser o primeiro time brasileiro a participar do Mundial e eu estar participando disso é muito bom. Eu acho que todo mundo que joga o League of Legends no Brasil está torcendo por nós e vai ser muito bom se a gente tiver essa chance.
Oh, they're definitely coming into this one with a lot of sincerity and hope that it's going to work out. And I mean, they're 2 games away now. They're winning the series.
You can see the passion in those guys. It's actually really ironic almost that they got here by playing more as a team, yet in that game they were the ones that seemed to be individually outclassing PEX a little bit, and then now it's a matter of getting their feet normalized on the ground, not being so shaky, and just playing solid. It seems like the favorites could actually turn it into a victory.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking about that match a little bit more and why it was working out the way it was. To me, I actually heavily believe in counter picks in the bottom lane, and it felt like part of the lane disadvantage was a counter pick. Morgana into Braum. Morgana's much, much better, and I didn't like the fact that Milk went for Braum. The other one being that in a 55-minute game, you still got Trist Ori, right? Like, you get those Baron steals, but you're still fitting 6 out of Trist Ori. Regardless of your own gold, they've capped. So I don't want to sell out PAX just yet. I think there are some very real possibilities for them here in this matchup.
Absolutely. I mean, game 1 definitely delivered a little bit as far as drama goes. Cleaning up those games will be the absolute priority kind of for both of these teams. KBM doesn't want to let that get away from them, and obviously PEX wants to, if they get the Baron fights, be able to turn it into the victory.
Yeah, so that's going to be the thing to sort of watch for then, is the mix of individual skill, the mix of coordination, the mix of just sort of like the team play skill. It's a term I want to sort of figure out a better term for, because like rotations is overused, but there's like the entire suite of team play, right? Division control, right? Making the right calls. Yeah, the overall teamwork skill, I think, is one that I want to keep seeing express your prop in this match. We get ourselves into game 2 with Champion Select. I think PEX definitely need help in the vision control, but once that happens, their intuition for where to be and what to do is definitely on point.
Yes, and another Jarvan man coming out, so heavy jungle definitely taking out Trisk this time.
Sure. Wasn't that really his style in the first place there? So it's an interesting thing where you've got really one-sided bans on each sort of team, really, right? Like the Lee Sin ban on the one side, the Jarvan, the Vi ban on the other, the Tristana ban on the one side. That's convenient sometimes. Interesting though. So Vi's left up.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yet, would you really put a Vi away from it? I basically feel like the Kazakhs was impressive enough that the only thing they're afraid of is the Jarvan at this point.
Yeah. The incredibly easy Orianna combos, though Vi does a very similar thing, so I do want to see how this happens. First pick, both top-tier top laners are gone. Maokai and Alistar both banned away. Mata didn't want to play Maokai again, had a different first pick in mind, as Zilean still is removed from the team. They're taking plenty of time. They're really considering. So you get that 5 to 10 minute break between games to plan out your picks and bans. And normally you know what your 3 bans are. And you say, okay, well, if they ban these 3 we first pick, we're good to go. But they're taking 45 seconds to make sure this choice comes through. So using every possible second they can to make sure the pick is what they want. And it's going to be Ryze, once again.
And Ryze definitely wasn't the problem for them last game. Yuri's Ryze was incredibly on point.
Yeah.
And you do have a certain amount of safety picking at first, since Ryze can go into the top lane or the mid lane.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's receiving a lot more pick love all over the world, actually. There was a lot of early Ryze picking in one of the gauntlet matches over in Korea that happened last night, the Najin White Shield.
Right.
Versus KT Arrow's game had some very early Ryze picks, pretty much the entire time.
Yeah. It was Save crushing with it. And then,
interestingly enough, the winner of that series in Korea is not guaranteed a spot at Worlds, where the winner of this series definitely is.
SK Telecom T1K, the gatekeepers. Gonna have to see if they can send themselves or another set of 5 Koreans over to World Championships. Looks like Dan's might want another trip on Morgana here, and Danagorn can just re-up on Kha'Zix, so Vi ban obviously not necessary here. Wants to stick with that one.
Yeah.
So no new things yet in Champion Select, except we will definitely have new top laners.
I wonder what the top lane matchup's going to be. I mean, Nidalee is obviously available. It was a huge pick in the other international wildcard final when Dark Passage was able to win. Top laners it seems like top laners in all of these emerging regions hold a pretty big sway over the game. I think it's one of the biggest places where a skill discrepancy can really carry strong, since it's such an isolated lane.
Right.
Yeah, based on that first game, these teams are quite close.
Well, the cool thing as well, though, is I think top lane also has some of the most type diversity among roles. You can have the heavy split pushers like I only 1v1 you like Aurelia and Nidalee. You have the only team fight focused champions like Maokai, or the support top laners like Lulu, who can withstand their one-on-one matchups, but they also sort of are there to make someone else good in a team fight. Now, I think a much better choice here by PEX. Their bottom lane is going to be incredibly powerful, the support counter pick, and Corki works well in basically every lane matchup here. So I think they are poised to fix the issues they had in the beginning of Game 1.
Corki very strong in lane. Something Mega JP is comfortable team fighting in the mid game with. This is going to be another one of these PEX teams that wants to find a lot of mid-game team fights.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is at least they can rely on Ryze later on, but it's another sort of team, and you mentioned it in the last game, where they can't siege all that well. Killing turrets is tricky or slow.
Yes. Jinx is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Kills turrets easily and quickly.
Wow.
And again, the Orianna gets through. It's the strangest thing. Yeah. To throw one jungle ban and not do another one, you'd almost think that the Ori would be better served to ban against Tinones. It didn't seem remarkable in the last game, but his shockwaves were pretty much on point the whole time. Lane was solid. I think he's going to play better in this game. And keeping him on a comfort pick, I do not think is wise for PEX. It's very wise for KBM.
It absolutely is. And I actually really love the core of this team for KBM. Orianna, Kha'Zix, Jinx, I think, is a wonderful combo. It's very easy to shockwave into Rocket, and then you give the Kha'Zix the resets.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to be explosive on this kind of a lineup here.
I wonder if they're going to end up going with this Yasuo. There's been so much talk about Yasuo between these two teams, a huge power pick for both regions. And now that the Ori is picked, it's obviously a pretty big skill matchup between Ori and Yasuo. They'd have to do a lane swap as far as throwing Ryze up to the top lane if they do it. And so Yuri's going to most likely be playing something different, unless Mantaraya wants to throw a top lane.
I don't think it's likely. We are going to see Let pull out his Aurelia here for the one-on-one. Thinks it'll go just fine against the Ryze matchup, and I would certainly not swap Ryze mid Yasuo top against Aurelia. That would be horrifying. So, got the lineups here. I don't expect any more swaps in this one, and this will be a very interesting battle where PEX are super short range. They're trying to be explosive, and there's also, for what it's worth, almost no setup for Yasuo. So
yeah, just the Nami.
Right, and to me, that's interesting to play around. I think they're heavily focused on the lane matchups and heavily focused on what individual is going to work well for them, less so on the 5-on-5 cohesion.
Yeah, I like the little juke at the end of Champ Select by PEX. Kind of a surprise Yasuo pick coming in with the first pick Ryze, expecting it to go onto Yuri once again, and then changing it up at the last minute. I think the story of this game could end up being a little bit similar to the last one, where it's going to be about how strong KBM can be in the lanes versus how well PEX can come together as a team to try and make up for it, because even though they did get a lot of nice lane picks, it just didn't seem like they can keep up exactly with KBM in lanes.
And so we're going to see if they can fix this one up there in the game. Remember to keep updating your votes on Twitter. Send us your picks to @LOL Esports. Use either hashtag PEXWin or hashtag KBMWin to vote for who you think is going to win. PEX coming out of Latin America. 3 different countries represented: Argentina, Peru, and
Uruguay.
Uruguay, yes, thank you. That's what I thought it was. I was going to be sad if I said it wrong. KBM, of course, all from Brazil here. And it's going to be a very fun matchup. KBM right now up 1-0, 2 wins away from a spot at Worlds. And we're going to see if PEX can bring it back or if KBM can bring it home.
Yeah, the last Twitter hashtag vote we had during that first game was heavily in the favor of KBM. You can tell they got a lot of fan support.
Now I see him try again. Now, the interesting thing as well, we talk about fixing issues in the middle of series. KBM have a pretty big support staff there. I saw a bit with them. He's an incredibly good Brazilian player on the coaching staff for them. Whereas PEX were kind of just the 5 dudes and like, you know, LATAM writers to help translate and bring them around and everything. And a few of them spoke a bit of English, but it was mostly sort of talking with the rioters around there to get some extra information out as they talked amongst themselves. But KBM have all these guys who can talk to them, oh, you know, here's these picks you can change around, here's these bans you can do differently, here's how to play it differently, here's all these wards they don't usually put down.
Got to solve their own problems.
Yeah.
Interesting pink ward early on. Wow. Except the location of that was given away there by killing the ward. I honestly would have thought, since it's a trinket ward that is going to expire in 60 seconds anyway, killing that ward is actually not worth revealing the existence of the pink.
I tend to agree.
But PEX decides to kill the ward.
Well, and Tin can very easily kill this, right? He can put the command attack down in the brush and just swing at it. And he would get that cleanly. No one would stop him if he did that right now.
He doesn't know that at the moment, though. He's cautiously thinking that that ward could be for an invade, which is why he went back with that next ward. Does seem like pretty standard openings, though. Another 2v2 lane. Really going to have to see if Minerva and Dance can capitalize on their edge this time. Game 1, they seem to have PEX pushed in pretty much the entirety of that early game, yet weren't really able to win it.
Well, we'll see. This is going to change around in this game. Danagorn starting up in the top side.
A lot of damage. I mean, trying so hard to just isolate that guy with the Q first onto Kha'Zix, but he ends up dropping below half his health.
Well, we'll check the potions now. Maybe he'll stand back up. I expect his pattern's going to still work for the guy. Let's see what else we can do here. Bottom lane already pushed in KBM's favor, actually. Nami gets some heals back, and Mega JP missing 3 CS under the turret there, but still trying to trade back. Minerva dodges the Phosphorus Bomb. And we're more or less okay here. Now, the mid lane matchup I do want to see. What's our featured matchup for the whole best of 5? It actually went really close to equal in the first game.
Yeah. This mid lane matchup between Yuri and Tinones, as you said, featured matchup, of course. It's on the Yasuo to outplay. It's really tricky for him to dance around all these Ori balls. There is a specific interaction. We ended up seeing it with Braum in the COD series. Actually, Mega JP gets hit by the traps and then a binding.
Fair bit of damage, though. Could not Valkyrie for a long, long time. And Badmilk's going to be on nurse duty for a while, getting the Corki's health back up. We've already got a lead for Minerva and Dan's, and it's going to keep going. And I was like, maybe it's the lane matchup. It's not the lane matchup.
No, it is not. This is something that was very notably scouted by KBM, that the bottom lane was a place they could attack and gain advantages, which is why they want to pick hyper carries in lane, so a win in that lane can win them the game.
Yeah. And that was a big factor for their win last time around.
Yeah. Even though they didn't win the lane that great, by the end of the game, the discrepancy was there.
It was actually interesting. I was looking at the stats, and Mega JP was like 3-1 and 4 on Lucian at the end of the game. The damage dealt champions was like 37 versus 34,000. Like, for what it's worth, Mega JP kept up.
He is good in team fights.
Yeah,
it's definitely something he knows how to do. He itemizes to survive the lane and then try and win in team fights.
Ooh. Close bind. Of course, by the way, Summoner Heal is down for Mega JP if we missed that.
And this was one of the matchups we were talking about Morgana actually being weaker in, was against the Nami. Just the sustained battle is something that Morgana cannot keep up with. You can see despite all the early harass they took, they're sitting pretty healthy. Now this pink ward's getting attacked though.
All right, they should be going down, and 100 gold down the drain for PEX Gaming. That first recall back just on a couple of individual items though. His lane was actually all the way pushed in, didn't want to be stuck under the turret there. Mata should very easily be able to grab tier when he wants to back up. And we'll see as that match continues. So far equal though. But, honestly, like, bot lane is pretty equal as well. It's 2 CS difference, now equal.
They're keeping up for sure.
As someone heals back way up from halfway back up from cooldown, Badmilk trying to get some damage down. Of course, Minerva has no sustain anymore, so that's fairly well worth it. Forced a Black Shield away, but Frost Bomb dealing some decent damage all the same. Matchup might be flipping a little bit.
They definitely understand the matchup. That's the Corki pick. He picked it with all other 80 carries available. Just the Tristana ban from his own side. You can tell he's confident in his Corki play. And keep in mind, the last time this PEX team would have been scouted as a team would have been months ago when they won their qualifier. So a lot can change from then to now, and it was reflected in how close that first game was. PEX has definitely made some big strides as far as a team since their qualifiers.
Lep making sure not to go into turret range, but he wants to bait a fight there. The Kha'Zix is here to counter gank, and right now Lep still holds an item lead because he recalled first. But Manta is doing a very good job of keeping the lane under his control in front of his turret. He is immune to being ganked right now. And Danagorn is still wasting time trying to make a gank work that I don't think is going to happen. Every one of his ganks is back up right now.
The lane is so far pushed. The gank would literally only work if Monterrey was trying to get aggressive on Lep with gank presence, and it would be a 2v2 counter gank. That's just not happening, though.
No. That's more than a minute wasted by Kha'Zix. Finally recalls back, leeches XP for a while, but that actually means that Lep is going to be behind in the matchup. The fight actually now for the mid lane. Uri's going to go to the ulti. The bubble's there as well. Badmilk roams are freaking on point today.
2 roams early game, resulting in 2 kills early game. Chaining the Yasuo with the Nami in that direction was pretty cool, and it gives him that nice little edge on it to Tinones. The gank finally comes out, but it is just to push the turret. Monterrey are going to want to heal up and teleport back in.
So all they're going to do is deny about a wave, maybe 2 right here.
Dragon.
Just goes for Dragon off the first blood.
So they know the Yasuo ultimate is down. It's a matter of how well they can trade the aggro on this and how little damage they can take from the Dragon. If Dan's was level 6, I'd say you could stop this, but as just a little level 5 more, he is just watching for some reason.
Puddles in the ground. And there's a smite. Frahio picks that one up. Dan's going to run away. Black Shield on. Knockout for Uri will not land. And we go back here. 1,400 gold. PEX again with the early game lead. Badmilk's roams. I like them.
PEX plays the map. PEX knows objective control. The question will be, do they know how to pull out a victory? We know the flaws in their team composition already. They do not siege well. They will have trouble taking turrets. But as far as finding the fights that they need, they can do that.
Yes, they can. These guys are playing absolutely great on that scale here. So can they keep that one going? Get ourselves a 1,400 gold game. More damage going out from Dan's. That's okay, though. Mega JP does have the double Doran's Blade once more, plus heals from Nami. Trading up against Minerva. That's going to be all right, though. And now the top lane battle, though. These guys are really going to be 1v1 focused for, I think, a while here. Especially with Dragon down so early on. There's nothing else to do in the top lane except battle.
Feels like Lep needs to win that matchup to make the pick worth it. He picks the Aurelia last. Obviously, Ryze was first pick, so you're going to get a counter pick kind of regardless against it. But just now, considering Monterrey has went tier into Catalyst, has not been punished, is only down 5 CS, plus he dealt with the gank being up there, Lep has to do better.
I agree. I absolutely agree. He got so much help from Danagorn that meant basically nothing here. And I thought that was going to be a pairing that was going to pay off so well for KBM. These guys have played together for a while. And I just don't think he read the lane properly, or he was expecting a counter gank so heavily from Frahio that just didn't come in.
A good 1,000 gold lead.
There's surprised it's only 1,000 though. Like that closed, it was 1,400.
True.
Mid lane is getting crushed.
Exactly. Tanone's Orianna, despite the death, still sitting at that CS edge.
85 at 9 minutes with a death is ludicrously good. That's really remarkable there. They're actually going to lane swap this a little bit. Uri realizing how bad that matchup was says, you know what, I'll just take the junk lane. It's bad for me anyway.
Something that happens fairly commonly, actually. The first team we saw do this was Complexity, actually. They swapped the Tristana mid and the Yasuo bottom lane. It worked for two reasons. Trist was good at shoving in mid lane, but Yasuo was also pretty effective in 1v2s. However, the lane swap is only temporary. I'd say a fair bit of lost efficiency there for PEX to kind of change their mind on that one. Maybe Yuri went down there to save the turret?
Yeah, he was holding the lane as a recall was coming in.
Yeah, that's a lot of lost efficiency.
Was he there from Dragon, I think?
No, I don't think so.
That's not the right timing.
It puts him even farther back against Tanone's, though.
Yeah. 30 CS deficit in this mid lane here. Avarice Blade plus parts of Azeel. Ooh, flash away from the Dark Binding. Another summon spell lost. PEX are basically bleeding their gold lead partially. And then trying to claw back into it.
I mean, that's
1,000 gold.
That's a lot of what we saw throughout the whole game one. PEX get an edge. Then it would just slowly disappear.
Minion by minion.
Although this time, bottom lane sticking strong, top lane doing well. Yuri, the guy who helped participate in the first kill, is the only one down in CS, and that's kind of expected against an Orianna.
So maybe business as usual for PEX. Hold on to your lanes, make good plays. Pink ward's getting swept out pretty nicely. Seen a couple go down so far. Looks like Bad Milk again on the roam. To get vision control, he'll watch the right-hand side of mid lane. He's actually warding for his teammate.
If Bad Milk's going to roam, though, they need to have better pink ward control of those brushes. You got pinged out pretty easily. This could potentially be a little bit disastrous if they decided to dive and counter. Wow. Even on his way out, he didn't check for the pink ward. The Nami. So overall, though, this game is going much better than game one for PEX. It's not like they've needed ridiculous things to break their way for the advantage. They just kind of got the advantage through good play.
Yeah, they did. I actually really like the specifics of how that roam happened, though. Mega JP went to go recall. Oh, hold on. Going to go in on a Minerva there. Flame Charmers are down. That will root Mega JP in place, which is going to make that trade not exactly what the Corki wanted. Dark Binding hits Bad Milk. Tidal Wave comes in, but doesn't do enough. Bad Milk to take way too much damage. There's get excited. Mega JP does have flash, and will it be enough for him to stay safe? Rocket's making him try to hide away. He flashes from the Binding, but Lep's going to go down to the top lane. One last overload. There's a kill for Monterrey.
Oh, man. So that was actually a trade right there. The teleport was a bait for the gank in the top lane.
Oh, wow.
And that's the big reason they were able to kill Aurelia. We'll get that replay up shortly. Obviously, the bottom lane was an outplay by Minerva and Dance to get the kill in the first place. But it gives Given right back in the top lane. That's why team game. Absolutely, and the gold stays 800 in the edge of PEX. Oh, now Aurelia TP's in, though.
This is cool. Now, Lep does not have a stun free just yet. Nice job not using an overload. There's a jump in. Fahio forced to jump away. He's going to have to burn the flash. And he's trying to get out of that as a kill already for Aurelia. Danagorn low on health. Mantarraya, though, low on HP. No mana on him, though. And Lep can just walk away safely. Overall, 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Jeez. What a back and forth game. Once again. Yeah, this is the teleport play we saw. You can see Elise coming up behind Lep. He goes for a TP and he goes, I gotta stop it, I gotta stop it. He burns all his cooldowns. He has friends. He actually has a great flash on the Cocoon right there to flash over it pretty much. But still falls.
Yeah, it was a good ulti as well. He put it through as many minions as possible to heal. There's no fall off, you just heal for every single thing hit as Aurelia, but just was not quite enough HP back. Nice little poke there. 100 CS basically on both AD carries. Interesting that Minerva went for an early Brutalizer on Jinx. I don't see that build very frequently.
Jeez, you almost never see that build on Jinx especially.
So, I mean, to be fair, she is pretty caster-based, kind of akin to Lucian. I could see it. It's just new.
You can, if you're talking just the zap, yeah.
I mean, and the ulti is a big part of this team, I think. They have a lot of front-loaded damage off of just Shockwave, Kha'Zix W, Rocket. I think it's like pretty decent teamfight opening.
Is she gonna go Ghostblade Jinx?
I could see it.
It's just the question. I mean, you can see it. It's the extra little burst of move speed on someone who needs a little bit of extra mobility. Could work, and the Brutalizer in the lane can be a good item. So definitely.
Well, remember Genja invented. Actually, I think he gave credit to Reckless, but Trinity Force Kog'Maw last year. That became normal. Who knows? Maybe Minerva's a Time Lord.
There's that Twitter support right there. For Kaboom. They're going for this dragon. This will be a really big fight if it ends up happening. It's smart for Kaboom to pull off this right away. The fear of a collapse is really high, especially if Yuri can come down with fully charged tornadoes. That's why they're trying to go in.
The jump on in, but it's not going to be enough. Danagorn now forced away. Black Shield is on. They will dodge away from the tidal wave.
That did not work at all for Kaboom. They are forcing now because Yasuo is split pushing the mid lane.
Lep wants it really bad. Frahio gets away though, and now the battle starts. Mantarraya is going to be going down. Minerva claims the kill, and that is Kaboom, the force working.
Could not quite flash that binding in time. If he could have, it would have been a huge boon for PEX. But Kaboom pulling a bit of a goal lead here. The question will be, how much are they willing to sacrifice for this dragon?
Ooh.
Jeez.
Frahio stays alive, but now this dragon is dying really fast.
They're a little bit low. I mean, you can see that PEX really wants to fight. They just don't have the initiation tools.
If Ryze had TP, I'm sure they'd find a way to start it with a flank, but it just couldn't happen. And again, you talk about it, no initiation tools. There's no way to set up for Uri to go in, and Frahio certainly can't.
Yeah, the overall setup of this team is actually fairly weak. They kind of need Ryze to just run in and grab a person. Or have Fragio just get a nice cocoon. It's not ideal there, and that was kind of the first big team fight misplay I've seen PEX make. They had a nice little split push to try and draw Kaboom away from the dragon, and Yuri in particular did not push mid lane hard enough. When Kaboom went all the way down bot lane, he would have been able to get that top lane turret, the mid lane turret, if he would have just stuck to the plan.
That would have been a decent trade, but that didn't happen right here. So now, Blue buff started up. Elise is going more AP focused. Very squishy, actually. Spectral Wraith into Moby Boots. Might be starting on a Sightstone now, but a very, very, very squishy team now for PEX. Bot lane outer does go down. Left and Minerva doing that together. Kaboom now 1,700 gold up. They've completely flipped this game.
And a big thing about it is the two turrets. So it's just all across the board winning the lane pressure. Can really take over game. They're about to get number 3. That means they can move up their ward line, theoretically, and create even more advantages.
And you can see that right there. Mid lane outer goes down. They put a ward down in the front of the mid lane. They're trying to watch to see where PEX might go. Lap walks over an enemy ward. And it's going to be Monta just backing up for now. Kaboom now. What else do they have to fight for? All outer turrets are gone. They're going to go for the engage. The shot. Nice. Valkyrie away by Mega JP. They're going to stay safe.
Tried to play a little bit sneaky, but I think the ball, or at least Tinone's positioning, gave away that play. And Yuri trying to get a split push going. That's kind of what PEX needs to make happen now, is whether or not Yuri can become a unstoppable split pusher. Unfortunately, I feel like if he fights a rally 1v1, he's going to lose.
Aurelia, absolutely. Jinx, I think he could win.
He could take Jinx.
Yeah.
Ghostblade was completed, by the way.
Interesting. Ghostblade BF sword.
Yeah.
Fun.
Ghostblade Rush.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Want to see how it plays out. So far, KBM up 2.7 thousand, although they have a couple of turrets. Grayl's dead. Babel's suddenly here, by the way. They find Dance. They find he gets away from the Soul Shackles. Flashes in, gets the kill. Lep shows up, but is it too little too late? Double kill already in. Teleport coming in for Mantarrajita, and it's going to be the jump in, and out goes Aurelia.
You just keep changing Monterreya's name, but I like it right here. Yuri gets 2 kills in that bottom lane. The Ghostblade is not enough to let them escape, and that, once again, is exactly what PEX needed to do to stay in the game. They needed to get Yasuo to a point where he can become a huge split-pushing threat, and because Bad Milk was waiting in the brush and they turned around that aggression, they can make that happen.
Absolutely beautiful. Bad Milk's in the right place, the right time. 3 assists on him, 1 death only. He's been great so far this game. Highest skill participation on the team. Uh-oh, in comes Danagorn, though. Uri forced to run away, dashed back in, misses the rocket for it, and they get the knockup. Can they kill left? Mandarraya with the last Q gets the kill. Now, can he run away? In comes Tinones. Can he make this happen? There's the root, there's the kill. Rise goes down. 2 for 1 overall.
Definitely an overstay right there by Yuri. Collapsed down by the rest of KBM. Kaboom, you would say. And they're going to regain control. Right here, I'd have to say. They still have the 3 turrets. It was a hopefully just a mistake for KBM, and they can regain control. You can see the gold lead still 1.3K. There's a death cap on Tinones right now, which is huge as far as power goes. And yeah, you can just see this one. Sure, he landed a lot of damage down, but Monterreya, unfortunately, is so far away from home. Catches the 1 kill, but then there's just no escape.
Not a chance. And Tin didn't really try to battle the duo lane by himself. Knew better than that.
He just ran right past him.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of damage along the way, too.
Yeah, sure, but, you know, whatever, YOLO. Did actually go Death Cap before Athene's, which I found interesting. He stopped at Chalice. And on one side, we actually see a lot of Mage versus AD champions will go Tier Seekers Merlinomicon. That seems to be like the default build. But he's still going for the Athenes, just a late Athenes.
He could still be going Chalice, Deathcap, Merlinomicon if he really wanted to.
That's true.
But there'd be no extra armor, so the incentivization is kind of gone. It's actually very impressive that Tinones has been able to outlane Yuri the way he has without building any armor.
True. I completely agree. He's done a wonderful job.
And he's just kind of doing that Deathcap. I mean, a lot of times you build the Athenes because you need the extra farming, you need the extra cooldown for fights. But he hasn't needed any of that. He's just going for damage now.
He's going to be close to one-shotting a lot of people. Mid lane turret, 1 hit from dead. Wow!
There's the damage.
Yeah, pretty high.
And now, here's the fight that they want.
Left in the front lines. Can they make it happen? Flame Choppers come out, don't quite land, but down goes the Rise, the burn onto Uri, and he's going to fall 2-1 so far. Corki does fire 1 back, takes down Danagorn, but still a 2 for 1 in KBM's favor.
Heavy focus onto the damage dealers and carries of PEX. Right there. Yuri could not get off his Yasuo ultimate, which was critical. They love just flying in there for the shockwave delivery system. It hasn't really caught that many people, but it did catch the Rise that time, and it respawns with the Dragon.
All right, look at that. KBM, now the 2nd Dragon in a row, cleanly picked up both times now. PEX waiting in the wings, but I don't think he can go through an Orianna ball right now. Nice Zap's going to catch the flash in. Dance quite landed. Can't quite do it, but now Mega JP's got to be careful. He's got a red buff on himself. Zap forced to be flashed away from a lot lost by PEX for trying.
You can see that gold lead starting to slip away a little bit as well. And objective control finally going back in the way of KBM. Take another look at this fight, though. You can see Tinones actually did a fair bit of chunk at the start, but then they get a fight they want. And even though the tidal wave catches over Danagorn, you can still just leap in. So it kind of bypasses that. Yuri gets caught in a pretty bad place. He gets stunned, I believe, by Lep's Equilibrium Strike on Aurelia, which stopped him from really doing any of the fancy dashing Yasuo would have loved to do. So a really nice initiation there by KBM.
All right, and so life is pretty darn good for these guys. Both major items now completed for the Jinx. Infinity Edge plus Yomu's Ghostblade now done, so has plenty of attack damage to basically make that rocket gigantic. It's a super mega death rocket absolutely now, more than just in name. Mega JP is still just sitting on Trinity Force, so he's actually been passed now in terms of relevance, and he won't catch up anytime soon.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it. Really lagging behind. He's 700 gold back. He's not even sitting on that much gold. He's just not powerful right now. On Corky.
And that's the weird thing for investing in a Vamp Scepter and investing in upgraded boots is, I mean, maybe I underrate Sorcery's really heavily on Corky, but like, he's not going to.
It suits his playstyle. He's a very safe AD carry.
Yeah.
When he's in team fights. They're trying for an initiation, though. Tidal Wave just catches Aurelia.
Yeah.
And they teleport onto Flame Chompers as well, so no initiation. Look at the ward coverage Kaboom has above in the jungle, so a flank attack is impossible. They have to get directly assaulted if they want to get fought.
And heck, they can see everyone anyway. 2 shots of the turret goes down. Danagorn, though, early has to take the Mikhails to stay alive. That's not what they really wanted. At least they get the turret, though. But a couple of cooldowns missed now.
I mean, that's one way of getting a turret. Just jump past it. A little bit more dangerous than they needed it to be, I'd have to say. Kaboom, though, gets another turret, continues the siege, and that should be their game plan. Running around turret to turret with Jinx, and pushing PEX off. PEX's wave clear is not very good.
No, it's not at all, and there's a distinct range advantage as well. They're just not fighting in equal terms, so if Kaboom can say, 5-on-5, let's draw the battle lines. It's a very easy battle to win, and so far that has been happening quite nicely. 3.3 thousand gold lead, Kaboom. 2 wins away.
Arena Sport MX. Arenea Sports. I can't even tell. Arena Esports MX is the tweet name. They like your Monterrey. So the question will be, though, can it turn into a victory for PEX?
There's 2 pronunciations. Sorry.
Yeah, all right, go for it. Go for it.
So
you were practicing.
Yeah, I was practicing. There's actually a video. I think it was like Latin American Esports Twitter account tweeted it out of me practicing the pronunciation. So in Spain's Spanish, it's Mantarraya, right? You pronounce the Y normally. In deep South America, the Y becomes an SH sound. So it becomes Mantarrasha. And I was also
which sounds a little bit close to Mother Russia.
To be like saying Mother Russia in a fake Russian accent, which I just felt like not doing. So even though it's inauthentic to the player's name, then many people also tweeted at me saying, oh, you should say Mantarrashita, which is little stingray. It's a term of endearment that players, the casters and the Latin American fans use for the player. So I use it once in a while when it does well.
That's a nice touch.
And yeah, so I randomly say 3 different things while casting, and it's confusing for nobody.
Yeah, because they know who you're talking about. It's Monterrey, the Rise right now, and they're actually controlling the map a little bit despite being down in gold right now, trying to fight back in this game here. You know, they do have 3 outer turrets back. They've made a little bit of a run, and an Infinity Edge was completed onto Yuri. Like, that's the team fight Yasuo build. That's not the split push Yasuo build that we were kind of expecting.
True.
So PEX might actually be trying to force some team fight shortly.
If they can get around the Shockwave, I mean, keep in mind, you can definitely wind wall the Command Protect before it reaches Kha'Zix. You're not going to get a guaranteed stun. I mean, it's fairly skill shot based. You can oh my gosh, yeah.
He probably would have died if he took that, though. Tanones would have been waiting.
Yeah, but it would have looked cool, which is victory in some people's book. Oh, Danagorn comes in, though. There's the Command Protect, and there's the shock. The wind wall came in too late. Bad Milk's going to go down. 1 for 0. Rocket not needed, but he's going to find 2 with the Yasuo. The Uri's going to go down, though, and left still in the front line. Fragio trying to run away. There's the repel. He might be dying, but in comes Mantarraya. Can he make it happen? Tenones gets stunned. Back in goes Danagorn. Actually pushed the W the wrong way, and Minerva finds the 3rd kill of the fight. Mega JP is going to go down as well. Now it's only the Rise alive, and that is an ace for 1 for Kaboom.
A catastrophe for PEX right there. Kaboom played that fight just the way they needed to. Everyone focused Yuri when he decided to go in. I think both Tanones and Dan's exhausted him exactly the same time, but it didn't matter because it meant that ultimate was mostly neutralized. They get the ace, they get the Baron, and they take control of the game.
They've taken absolute control right here. You see the Command Protect just comes in for the crucial
just catches.
Shockwave.
Finally, they get a nice ball delivery system that catches multiples. check that out. Double exhaust pretty much onto here. He doesn't have added effectiveness, but it just meant that the damage was low. And check out the forever binding. So critical that Dan's landed this binding right there because Monterrey was going to try and go in and get those low health people. It allowed the cooldowns for KBM to come back up. It allowed for the re-engage, and then they killed everyone else but the Rise and just piled on. Another headshot by Dan's with the Dark Binding, and that was the fight.
I tried to count the number of spells Rise got that fight. It was about 8.
Not enough.
Not nearly enough. Yeah, he got a couple full rotations out, but that was like 4 seconds of downtime from that binding.
Even though the magic penetration is so nice, sometimes you see Rise run Mercury Treads against heavy CC teams like this because we've seen it crush a few times. When he gets Equilibrium Strike by Reli, it's up to a 2-second stun, and because he is a low-range caster, the 3-second Dark Binding, which is maxed by Morg, is just destroying his effectiveness. So magic pen all you want, if you can't get to targets, it won't matter.
And that was the prime example. Boy, sometimes you just emphasize the durability over the damage output here. And that's the case right now. He's got the Frozen Heart in there. He's still got the Negatron Cloak. We'll see what else he can add to his build, though. But right now, prioritizing some durability pretty smartly. PEX, though, definitely on the back foot. 8.8 thousand gold behind now. This is a very significant lead for KBM Esports.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, especially because KBM has the initiation they want with this team. It's the jump in from Kha'Zix and the Shockwaves. It's a risky initiation because Kha'Zix is pretty squishy and he's kind of leading the way. I would suggest actually they lead with Aurelia if they're going to do that again, but she is going to stop the Yasuo, which again can actually be a pretty good option. We think Aurelia can take down Yasuo 1v1.
Yeah, especially with this kind of a build, you just kind of two-shot 80 carries. You get like 600 damage every auto attack and life is just painful. Aurelia is going to be... I don't know, man. Aurelia is going to be hard. Jinx, he would crash. Aurelia, I just... Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the reasons the last pick Aurelia was strong. One of the big ways Yasuo gains strength in the mid game is he goes to split push, and typically speaking, there's not many things that can stand toe-to-toe with him.
Right.
Tanks, he'll burst down because he has that sweet armor penetration on his ultimate. And squishies, he will kill immediately.
Yeah.
So you need a mix. The fighter that is Aurelia can hold the Yasuo and force them into this 5-man defense where they have inadequate wave clear and should lead to KBM winning the game. Look at that poke.
Oh my gosh, so much damage from the Death Cap, Void Staff, and Sork Shoes on Orianna. Next wave comes in soon. You're seeing PEX do what they can to wave clear. All Minerva has to do is spend 20 mana per auto attack and those rockets will hit that turret.
Well, they have isolated him a little bit, though. They just pushed them off the turret. They're going again!
Oh, wow, the engage, but there's really no one around. He's just kind of buying time for turrets to go down. KBM, interesting choices here, but it is going to be the fall. And now, do they keep going for much else? Of course, Baron buff, still 30 seconds on. 3 casters left. Mid turret's going to take some help.
I mean, the disengage is gone right there, so
wow,
Danagor jumps
Mega
in.
JP, one hit from Deb, but Danagor didn't chase it down. Mikhails comes out, and that is a little bit of an overextension. They're going to lose another player as Minerva comes down. And look at this. Manta Rashita making everything happen. Dan's forced away. 2 kills for 1.
They didn't even get the turret right there. A big mishap there by KBM. Not being together with that initiation. Danagor overextended. Minerva took too much damage from the turret, and now they are vulnerable to a counter push here from PEX.
And this could be massive. They're only missing the jungler, so anyone who really matters in hitting turrets is around. Here comes the wave. Kha'Zix and Jinx 12 seconds away. Mid tier 2 gonna be falling. Will KBM even try to fight? Oh, that's right, taking some damage. In comes Lep, and it's gonna be a kill picked up. Now it's 3v3. What else can Yuri do here? He's got the ulti. Can he find the engage? He finds Lep. He finds damage from his 80 carry, but the shockwave is too much. They can't convert the kill, and KBM once again comes out ahead.
Tanones is just a one-man wrecking crew right now. He is so far ahead of the rest of the game right now, which is why his Ori seems so damn devastating. Level 17, 3 big items, and he is just keeping everyone alive. Very timely exhaust once again when the Yasuo went into ultimate. You can see the double exhaust counter that Yasuo, and they turned their mistake into a nice play from the 3v4. And they're going to go finish what they started, trying to get this turret again.
There are a couple missing health bars, though. They got to be careful. Mantarraya is alive, and they go on in. Badlock forced to get away. Left gets the first one. There are still some very low health bars as they try to go in. Left forced to run away. The distance slows them down, though, and so many kills come through. Minerva finds a third right here.
Just a lot of close plays, but the gold lead is showing through right now. And the Orianna is controlling this game, as well as Lep just kind of going where he pleases on Aurelia and not getting punished.
What's amazing to me is how well Lep is doing, though, because you think, okay, Orianna, great team fighter, 508, what a wonderful score. Lep, even higher kill participation on a single target focused diver with only 2 deaths, meaning Lep has chosen the right fight every single time.
Yeah, look how low he is in this fight, but they jump over the bubble, burn the tidal wave through. You can see the team. We're going to focus on this side of the fight. Minerva just running straight at Mega JP. Crit rockets and an ult right in the face. He doesn't have much attack speed, so he's trying to weave his spells in between his auto attacks with this style of Jinx. Still hasn't even upgraded those boots.
Nope, just hitting really hard. I like the binding in ulti, because you're just like, well, I'm dead.
Yeah.
See the animation, you're like,
no escape.
I can't go anywhere anymore. Life is pain once more. But yeah, Minerva, interesting to go caster Jinx. He's relying on just Youmu's for attack
It's the
speed.
first I've seen it. It's working for the KBM team right now because they're getting so much upfront damage from the Ori.
Oh, wow.
I mean, take a shot. Jinx ult. There it comes.
Okay, down the map.
Nah.
Zoom. Nope.
Yeah. That was a nice block.
Yeah.
If you're PEX.
All 3 of them are like, hey, no, or we got this.
Jinx ult does almost nothing to full health targets.
Yeah, he's life stolen it back. Bloodthirst, wow, we were talking about how Jinx is going to outscale Corki. Corki has still not finished another big item since we last said that.
That's tough.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
That's some damage. Mikhail's used, and out goes Bad Milk.
10 owns. Leandry's completed. I feel like he just
both times.
finished the Leandry's for the extra gold. I mean, still no Zhonya's, but he is not threatened right now. That would be the one fear, is if he gets caught by a tornado, he could get bursted down.
There's a lot of knockouts, but Yuri does not go in for it.
Ooh. The singular shots from Jinx's rockets are doing big damage right here. Yeah. They're staying on the Baron, though. They get it.
Picked up there by the spike from Danagorn. Can they re-engage? So Lep goes in. He finds Mantarraya, and there's a lot of damage. Rise falls. Jinx rocket comes in a second late. Another time. Uri forced to run away.
Speed.
Lep wants it.
From the Ori.
Black shield's on. Good.
Eventually they will catch him, unless he can make it over this wall.
No way to reveal it.
Oh, man.
He's still trying. He walks fast, aggroes him. Doesn't mean much, though. There's a slow in. Left is sure to make the kill happen. Nothing else for Yasuo to do.
2 more kills, 1 inhibitor already down. It's about getting the creep wave in the right spot if you are KBM. Unless they just want to rush this mid lane, they do have a super minion.
Hey, why not 40 seconds in the Yasuo? 10 seconds until
they
it's
could
only
totally do it if they would have grouped mid lane.
Well, Dan's a shoving top, though. They're going to go for that instead.
They do have that 15, 16,500 gold lead now. They can take the safe approach. It is only 35 minutes in, and boy, are they ahead.
They are in complete control right now. Minions coming in, and 18 seconds still on the Yasuo to come alive. Down goes the turret, in towards the inhibitor. Uri goes in, left goes in. Now Mega JP taking some damage. 8 seconds on Yasuo, but they forced the team away, giving complete control over the inhibitor. Quickly picked up, Minerva walks away. 2 dead in hips.
Yeah, they're just going to make the rounds for a third one, it looks like. They have the initiation threat from Danagorn. This is a much more controlled game by KBM. It feels like they have definitely calmed down from the first match, and they are just making fewer mistakes.
It really seems, though. They're not getting caught up with these random plays. They're not losing the objectives on Baron steals and Smite steals and whatnot. And they're just being smart about what they go for. They are, to me, slightly gun-shy in closing out the game. I feel like gold leads like this, in a certain way, shouldn't exist, because the game should be over when we're this far ahead.
Well, when a spot of Worlds is on the line,
you tend to be risk-averse.
The first Brazilian team to ever represent Brazil at the World Championship.
Heck, first South
you can
American
take it slow.
team.
Yeah, true.
I mean, no matter what, one of them's going to go. But yeah, I mean, you saw the video before this game. There was so much pride on the line. Where you heard him say that he thinks every Brazilian player is backing them here. Every single one of them.
I don't doubt it.
Entire server's like, you got this, guys. Lep trying to champion his country, goes in, knocked up by Bad Milk, but that's not a very long duration CC anymore. Rocket comes in a little bit too early, but that binding, though, by Dan's was sick.
And look at the tankiness on Lep right now. The Trinity forces enough damage and nobody can touch him. Just a Bloodthirster right there by Mega JP. No Last Whisper on Yuri because of the QSS. This game's over.
Oh, man. Third inhibitor. About to be under fire. The wave's coming in right now. It's a big one. Slows on a Bad Milk. You can see just the chunks coming out from Caster, Jinx. And here we go. Yomi's used. Windwall does not catch the Jinx shots, though. Turret falls. Battle begins. Shockwave, where is it? Doesn't even matter, though. They've already taken down Uri, and Fragio is already dead anyway. They're just taking everything away right now. Bad Milk loses half his health from a single auto attack.
Tinones didn't even have to use his Shockwave. Inhibitor number 2 goes down. The Nexus turrets are next. This is a win.
20 minutes faster than last time, 38 minutes into the game. Nexus gonna fall,
Whoa.
and Brazil is 1 game away from the World Championship.
That one must have felt much better for KBM. They know where they are right now. They're gonna try and stay a little bit calm. We know how much this game means from this reserved high fives coming out. Tinones' Orianna is... We saw why teams banned his Orianna in the Brazilian finals this game. You were a little skeptical after game 1. A little bit of an underwhelming performance there. This was what they came to do.
Yeah.
And now PEX is completely on the ropes.
Exactly. CNB knew what they were doing, banning that one away every single one of those games. Still didn't save them from a 3-1 in the Brazilian finals here, but that's what we expected from Tinones. 8-1-11. Again, amazing job right there. It seems the nerves also have settled somewhat. You saw bigger smiles. They were more comfortable with their play right there. And the Brazilians were like, all right, you know what? Okay, good. That was much better from game 1. We've settled in. We're dialed in.
Yeah.
One more.
It's pretty much that. I mean, we had game 1. 2 people didn't buy their trinkets. They were running out of the base. They had to recall. They kept having these big leads where they were just kind of leaving these subs open for the one vulnerability that would delay them from winning the game. PEX would capitalize.
It's happening.
It happened again and again. It even happened at the very start of this game, to be completely fair. Or in the middle of the game where Yuri caught that double kill in the bottom lane. But then they recovered. You can see they have appeared to be the stronger team in both of these 2 games. So PEX would kind of have to reinvent themselves coming into game 3 if they want to make a run and try and turn around this best of 5.
And that just starts to look more difficult when you see a game like this. Game 1, I was like, okay, maybe there's things I could chalk it up to. You know, people make mistakes here and there, but maybe it's going to happen. This time around, though, again, very convincing by KBM, and maybe they're going to make that the 3-0. Maybe they're going to make their country proud. We're going to see if they can do it. But while it's, of course, fresh in your mind, share your huge moments from that game on Twitter. We are at LOL Esports. Please use the hashtag LOLBigPlays and let us know what you thought was awesome there. There's a few ones that I like. I like the binding on the finishing Repel Elise. I love timings like that. It's all feel. And it was pretty sick.
The mistiming on the Jinx rocket that went past the Elise.
Yeah, but that, you know. But the binding I like.
It's a play.
That one was okay either. It was a play, probably not as big. But you've heard what we had to say about the match, so we're going to throw it over to the analyst as to their perspective.
Thanks, gentlemen. A much more decisive win there by KBM that time around. And I think it's more a product of, as Jat and Freak were saying, some comfortability within the team. So it definitely, I mean, I feel as though both teams were playing with a little bit more comfort on that big stage in a high-pressure environment. What are your guys' thoughts?
Also, at the same time, you're feeling out your opponents. You've never played against these guys before as a unit, as a team. And the fact that KBM, in that first game, we talked about it, that they were able to kind of get these lose these objectives, but still go even because they were winning all the lanes. There, you saw them win team fights early. You saw them get objectives early, and then they just skyrocketed their lead. And their closing out of the game was very convincing as well.
All right, well, now let's look, though, at what PEX has to do. I kind of want to look forward because there's not a ton of analysis to be done on that game as it was a pretty methodical win. So let's look forward into the next match. PEX, where do they make the change? Do they make the change within the team composition, within their play style, strategy? Where do they make the changes, Pobelter?
I feel like they're still jittery, like they have the land jitters. You know, I'm seeing a lot of panic flashes, like an Orianna will ult, and then they'll be extremely low, and then they'll just flash and die anyways. Or a skill shot will be flying towards them, one that wouldn't normally hit, and then they'll panic flash. So you can still see that they're nervous. They have to overcome that and just sort of play aggressively and try and make skirmish plays happen, I feel. Because that's what was happening for them game 1, and they had a shot at winning in that one. But the second game, they just sort of played into KBM's hand, and it looked really hopeless for them.
So first step,
take a breath.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's start there. Let's start there with breathing. And then, but Zyrene, what about, how do they build on that, right? Like Pobelter said, let's take some skirmishes. Does that mean catering a team comp that's specifically built to separate out, to say, hey, look, let's not go for these gigantic game-swinging team fights. Let's look for smaller fights?
I'm not 100% sure against a team like KBM, because KBM is picking a lot of wave clear in the mid lane with Tinones. I think you have to ban the Orianna and pay some respect to that pick, and then he'll go on something else, maybe more assassin-oriented, we'll have to see. But you also need to pick more wave clear for yourself, because they've gone with Ryze top, Maokai top, they've gone with Ryze mid, and then Yasuo mid, and they lack complete wave clear from their solo laners. So then when their solo laners get behind, they don't leave options to get back into the game and stall it out, which was something that KBM had in Game 1 available to them. They could stall out, they could wave clear, they could continually just turtle up and wait to be powerful and then have an AoE team fight. But I do think that they do need to rethink their picks and bans and play to their style. That's the big thing. When you are uncomfortable in a LAN setting and it's very obvious, you need to go to your comfort champions. You need to go to your picks. You can see that with kind of Lep in the top lane playing Aurelia. He's actually known as Aurelia in Brazil. People call him that straight up because he is the best Aurelia BR.
And he played it very well. To speak a little bit more towards the Orianna, though, 8-1-11 this game, a fantastic game in the one prior. As you said, maybe they'll pay some respect to it. Interestingly enough, though, the casters commented on it. The fact that he built Liandry's, which is somewhat unorthodox, as early as he built it. And then also the fact that we noticed before finishing his Athenes, he went straight into that needlessly large rod. So, Pobelter, your thoughts as a mid laner, is that just like a super aggressive buy and like tip the hat to him because I guess it paid off, or are you more a fan of like I would have played more conservatively in this sense?
I really don't think it mattered what items he built that game because like no matter what he built, I feel like they were gonna win because of just how much impact he was doing regardless of his items, so how he was positioning the ball. But basically that build, it has a higher power spike when you get the rod because obviously the rod is a more impactful purchase than the codex, but you end up delaying your grail, and I feel like the cooldown that you get from finishing the grail earlier with the blue buff is ultimately better. But that's just my opinion. Maybe he has some different opinion.
Yeah, there was also a really funny part too, where you're like talking about the build being very aggressive, but then his play style wasn't super aggressive either. There was like a 17-18K gold lead, and Pobelter's over here during the game going, just flash ulti them. You're playing so scared. Why are you playing scared?
There was a moment where everybody on PEX's flash was down, so it seemed like a pretty easy engage. We've talked a little bit about KBM's teamfight prowess, and then the fact that they did have kind of those early spikes in power. I want to jump into the replay that we have 26 minutes into the game around the Baron pit, where they end up taking a 5-for-1 plus Baron off the backside of that. Pobelter, if you don't mind walking us through this one.
All right, roll the clip, please. So this fight actually opens up with the Kha'Zix, Danagorn jumping over the wall. They get a great Ori ult onto two of them, the Yasuo and the Nami. And then Yasuo is exhausted. Nami dies instantly after the Ori ult. From here on, they clean up Yasuo because he wasn't able to kill anyone. And they're all pretty low right here, but they're able to just like team fight with more skill. And then even though they're all low, they're just kiting in and out, balancing damage on each other perfectly. And this ends up being a 5-for-1 wipe as well as Baron.
Well, what's crazy about this too is that Jinx wasn't even in the beginning of that fight. You actually see on the mini-map Jinx is running across the mid lane, eventually gets there, and then, of all things, pops a Youmuu's and runs through the fight with Get Excited. What are you guys' thoughts on a Youmuu's Jinx? Like, that's a pretty interesting buy.
I heard it when it went off in one of the team fights, and I went, wait, who has a Youmuu's? And I saw the Jinx run, and I was like, no way. This guy, I'm a big fan of Minerva already.
Yeah, I mean, I have to respect that purchase. I mean, that's just the move speed that you get out of that is absolutely ridiculous. Get Excited, Youmuu's, and then with the Ori utility for speed, I mean, that's pretty scary if that snowball gets rolling. But I want to now look forward into the next game because we touched on it about what PEX needs to do. Let's actually look at KBM, right? They are ahead. So what do they need to do to like close it out, right? Avoid cheese, not let themselves get overconfident, overly aggressive, because we've seen them in this series. There have been a couple times where they've gotten overly aggressive, even in the first game, and given up some kills. So there's still a possibility that PEX can take an early advantage and run over them.
I think that they're more comfortable now. So I think if they just stick to their comfort champions and keep doing more of the same, like they did in that game too, but close it out a little earlier. But they won the game. You know, you can't hold that against them, regardless of if they had an 18K gold lead or not. The fact they got themselves to that point is a testament to them, and it doesn't really matter in this matchup against PEX. If they make the Worlds, then you can put it into question and be like, how will they do against other teams if they can't close the game out? But right now, I think what they need to do is just stick with what they're doing. If the Orianna gets banned out, fall back on another champion that does more of the same for their win conditions, because they're playing to them perfectly.
All right. I mean, that sounds pretty fair and square right there.
Yeah, Zyrene sort of said what I was going to say. The Orianna will probably be banned out, so I think if Tin just sticks to some similar control mage like Syndra or Ziggs, then they should not have a difficult time.
All right. Well, we're going to head off the Rift for a little while the teams reset for Game 3 of our international wild card between KBM Esports and PEX Gaming. Stay with us.
The fight actually now for the mid lane. Uri's going to go to the ulti. The bubble's there as well. Bad Milk robes are freaking on point. Graylo's dead. Bad Milk's suddenly here, by the way. They find Dance. They he gets away from the Soul Shackles. Flashes in, gets the kill. Lep shows up, but is it too little too late? Tinones gets stunned. Back in goes Danagorn. Actually pushes the W the wrong way. And Minerva finds the third kill of the fight. Mega JP is going to go down as well. Now it's only the Rise alive, and that is an ace for one. What else can Yuri do here? He's got the ulti. Can he find the engage? He finds left. He finds damage from his AD carry, but the shockwave is too much. 38 minutes into the game. Nexus gonna fall, and Brazil is one game away from the World Championship.